Welcome, everybody, to the latest episode of Pinfalls. This is Pinfalls Backlash. With me, as always, the reigning former Resistance Pro Tag Team Champ. Who else? But Tommy Else. How are you, Tommy?
I see London, I see France, and I'm glad that I don't see Johngy's underpants.
Well, you spent up all night writing that one up.
The WWE returns post WrestleMania with the backlash of WrestleMania, only they're bringing it overseas. They're taking it to Paris.
We.
Paris is his first step on their international tour post WrestleMania. A lot of pay-per-views that coming up that are going to be overseas. This will be airing 11:30 Central Time on Saturday this week. So, which is fine. At least it's during the day and it's not at 3 in the morning or something like that. But I'm excited about just them being in Paris. I don't know that I'm sure that they've been there, but I don't think I've ever seen an event,
Yeah, I was
from out there.
trying to think of like an old WWE wrestler like that hailed from Paris. Maybe a Frenchie Martin back in the day.
Well, they had La Resistance at one
Good one.
point,
True.
and they were a good team.
They were.
But yeah, but I mean, like they never like took the show out
No.
to Paris or anything like that. So anyway, it'll be interesting to see. It's a new, different arena, and just see how the French crowd reacts. I mean, you know, so
Those
we got
crazy Frenchmen.
those crazy. Yeah, they can't keep them down. We
Well,
got
before we get
five.
started, I have to admit I was overworked and I almost missed this. Tommy messaged me this morning, said, "Hey, we should still do pinfalls," and I yes, because primarily because I did not want to face the backlash.
Well, you don't like the idea that I might just do this on my own, and then
No, I didn't like
you'll
the
see.
idea of God knows what you were going to say on your own.
Well, there's that, but there's also the obvious rating spike that would go up, and then that's gonna raise a bunch of questions that the everyday fans,
Yeah.
people, and so,
Did,
all
did, did
right,
you know? I have some trivia
what?
for you.
Okay.
Some pinfalls trivia. Did you know that right now, lifetime, we are tied. Our record is tied.
Oh, really?
I am beating
Lifetime?
you this year, 16-6 to 13-9. But overall, 3+ years, we are tied. I don't have the exact number in front of me on that one, but I think it's
Well,
like 80
it
and
doesn't.
63 or something.
Okay. Well, it doesn't matter. We're basically at 0-0 now, so I mean, keep the scores, but yeah, it'll be
Yeah.
easy to keep track. I'll be interested to see if we have any disagreements on this. I feel like it's a fairly predictable pay-per-view. We are only looking at 5 matches here today, so let's get at it
Yeah. Four of them
and
are,
see.
are title matches. So we're going to start with the non-title. We're going to start with the tag team of I have trouble reading. I got to put my spectacles on. It's Orton and Kevin Owens versus. Say him for me, Tommy.
Kevin Owens and Orton versus Solo Sikoa and Tama Tonga.
See, I knew you'd pronounce them better. That's why I gave it to you.
You couldn't pronounce Solo Sikoa and Tama Tonga.
I would stumble on my tongue. So, I got another
Okay.
professional.
So I feel like Solo and Tama are gonna win this. The bloodline, the new angle they're going with the bloodline, which is still kind of a real big wait and see in my opinion. As far as I have faith that Triple H has got some sort of long-term plan with where they're going with this. And I think coming off of basically the bloodline just losing their ass and imploding entirely at WrestleMania, really needed this win. And if they get stopped in their tracks by Orton and Kevin Owens right out of the gates, they have no chance of moving forward with whatever it is they're going to do. So, um, yeah, so I think it's pretty much as simple as that.
100% agree. It does the bloodline no good to lose this match. In fact, it would almost bury them at this point, even though some people would like them buried. Um, look
It
at some.
may even be it may even be an opportunity for someone for them to bring in yet another person and
I
start
was
building
just
this
gonna
up.
say that. I'm looking
Yeah.
for potentially a new member of the bloodline to come in. But yeah, either way, I'm taking the bloodline, and it's not gonna hurt Orton and Owens at all. So
Right.
we start off with one agreement. Okay, for the women's WWE Tag Team Championship. I'm sorry, yeah, for the women's.
Do,
It's the
do you
Kabuki
want
War. It's the Kabuki Warriors versus Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill.
so you took the easy way out. You just gave them the tag name and didn't
Well,
try to say their
that's the way
names.
it's listed on the WWE site.
Can you say the names of the girls who are in the Kabuki Warriors?
It's Asuka
Okay.
and Sane.
What's her first name?
This is a,
It's Kyrie Sane.
yeah, Kyrie.
Asuka and Kyrie Sane versus Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair. Um, this one, the Kabuki Warriors have held those damn titles for a really long time. It's been one of the most uneventful and uninteresting title runs for a tag team that I've seen in a very long time. I can't say that up until now there's been anyone that really needed them more or deserved them more or anything like that. I think it's just kind of been a dead division as far as, women's tag team lately. But if they're going to start trying to turn that around, I don't see them trying to, put rocket fuel back into the Kabuki Warriors, and everybody is all hot about Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair for now seems like it makes sense to pair the two of them together. I think they take the titles and they're gonna run with that for a while. The real money with those two though is when they're gonna finally face each other. That's this is all just to kind of like, get them, get some attention. They're trying to get attention on Jade, which she already has, but get that momentum going, get the two of these two together. But at the end of the day, what everyone really wants to see is the two of them go at it against each other. So I definitely think the titles are switching on that one, going to those
Well, once
gals.
again, it's like you read my notes. I was going to say the exact same thing. The payoff on this eventually is Belair versus Cargill and to really pump up Cargill. I thought maybe Cargill might turn in this match, but that's too quick and it really does nothing. It sets up the feud right away, and then you still got the Kabuki Warriors as the champs. And like you said, that's been lackluster at best. Who do you bring up if it's not going to be them? And there's really no
Yeah.
point.
You can't ever turn on her yet because they haven't had long enough to establish that relationship.
Right.
The turn doesn't have as much of an effect unless they've really gotten to bond and be good buddies. So, because what they're going to need is they're going to need to show like that montage of them as tag team
Of
champions
course.
and beating other people and hanging out backstage and their tight friendship and then all of a sudden it
Torn
goes
apart.
awry. Yes, yes, and so yeah, it's not time for her to turn on anyone or even Bianca because she's been a face. I'm pretty sure most of her all of her WWE career. I can't remember a time she was ever a heel. So if anything, she may be the one to turn heel
It
whenever the
could be.
time comes. But that's going to be down the road, though. So yeah, I'm
Yeah.
with you. So
All right.
next,
So next we have the WWE Women's Championship. Bailey
yep,
defending against Tiffany Stratton
yeah,
and Naomi.
very good. So my answer is Bailey. I'm gonna stick. I'm saying I'm going with Bailey now. If it was to not, if I was to be wrong, then my second guess would be Tiffany Stratton. Um, I would. Part of me really would like to see Tiffany Stratton get that belt, and I know it's early for her. It's early for her, but I have to say, when I first started watching her, the first thing I thought is, man, like she's very good in the ring. Like she is excellent in the ring. When I watched her in NXT, she was already just wrestling at, the same level as, all the other, like Becky Lynch and all the, like she's there as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
But she is still relatively new to the main roster, and there's a lot of people who are still just kind of seeing her for the first time, because there's plenty of people who don't follow NXT. So, like for me, I'm already in on the Tiffany Stratton bandwagon, And I also at first my other problem was I was like, man, she's so good. Why does she have this obnoxious gimmick? You know, but even that over time, she's now I feel like she's really running with it and she's making it work. And she's the center of the universe. It's Tiffy time. She always, she says toodles. She's like, she's getting it. Like she really is going to be a very well-rounded women's wrestler. And, but from where we're at, as far as the title goes, I think that they need to build her up a little more before they're going to throw the title on her. I could see maybe a SummerSlam type of thing for her. Um, but in the meantime, I think Bayley will, because then what happens to Bayley? She has the title for a month and then she's out of Damage Control. Who cares? If she loses the title, then what do you do with her? So I'm going to go with Bayley.
Well, we know it's not going to be Naomi. We're going to toss
Yeah.
them up right now. Unlike you, I do think it's Tiffy time. I think Naomi's going to
Yeah.
use the pin. I think that's that way Becky or Bailey doesn't have to lose the so-called lose the match. Tiffany wins it, starts her run. I don't know what they do with Bailey. Maybe she takes some time off. There's a lot of women out there. Take some time
Yeah,
off
and
the tool.
the one thing that made me lean a little towards the idea of it being Stratton is because it's a triple threat, and yes, that way, Naomi could be the catalyst that gets the title off of Bailey, and then you have a thing between Bailey and
Naomi.
Naomi.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's a very sound argument for sure. I would, and that was kind of like if she was going to win, that's how it played out in my head too. It was like it was going to be something between the two of them, and Tiffany would just take advantage of it and win the title. I'm all about it. If that happens and I'm wrong, I'll be happy I was wrong.
And I'll be
So,
happy you're wrong too.
but
See, we'll both be happy.
one of the things about this new era though that I think needs to be started taking into consideration is that a lot of my decisions, at least, and I'm sure maybe you as well, we're basing off of the way things have always been done.
Yes, yes, yes.
So it's worth taking a little extra gamble, I think, on some of these things now, and maybe not going with the absolute predictable. So I'm not gonna like change my answer. I'm gonna stay with Bailey, but I do agree very much with what you're saying, and I do think that the scenario that you're putting out there is a highly likely one. We'll see where the chips fall on this one, but I hope you're right. This is
All
one time
right.
I hope you win this one.
All
So
right.
because
Well,
I don't I'm not saying she's not ready for it. I just think that maybe the crowd needs a little more time to really know her more, to appreciate it before she has the title. So
that was the toughest call for me. So
that was no for me. That was the only one where I really had to think it over for a few minutes. Everything else, I was like, yeah, it says that guy, whatever.
exactly.
So
So
yeah,
speaking of that, the next one is the World Heavyweight Championship, in which our boy, we like him, Damian Priest defends
yep,
against Jey Uso.
yeah. Um, Damian Priest having a great start with his title run. I think he's held the title as a heel very well so far. Uh, there's still a lot of cracks in the Judgment Day, and it seems like that's fallen apart. So I don't know how much he can rely on them to help. And if anything, I could see them screwing things up for him, not to the point of losing the title, however. So I see him retaining. I think Jey Uso is just the first of many challengers. I don't think that they worked. I mean, they took a long time to build up Priest to get that title, get it the way that he did at WrestleMania, with the Money in the Bank and all that stuff. He's not losing it after a month. That's just all there is to it. I don't care who he's facing. So it's not. It would just undo everything that they just put all that time and effort into. So. Um, but I'm sure it'll be a great match, though. Those are two awesome
Yeah.
competitors, and that'll be a match worth watching for sure. So,
Well, as good old JR says, I think that might be a slower knocker. I think it's gonna be a great match. I'm going with you the same thing. They didn't build Priest up that much and that long to have him lose it. I think it's a good match for to build Jey Uso.
yeah,
Obviously, they built
mm,
him already, but now this has put him in title contention. You
right,
get a good match from him out of this, and now he's in the main event picture.
right. He's main event Jey Uso.
Exactly.
Yeah, and the thing is he's been main event Jey Uso, but he's been main eventing like Raw and
Right.
things like that, which is great. But main eventing for the title is a whole nother thing, especially on a premium live event.
Must we
Overseas,
call
no
them
less.
premium live events? Can't we call them pay-per-views anymore?
We got to get used to it. You got to go with the change. It's like when they changed it from WWF to WWE. That was a real tough
Yeah,
one
but
for
this is
me.
still a pay-per-view
Where are you going to pay for it?
on the Peacock Network.
Yeah, but you're not paying it. You're not paying per view though either.
If you have the Peacock Network, don't you have to pay extra to get to
No,
get the
it's all included. Yeah,
not
it's
all of
it's
them, like WrestleMania is not included.
it sure as shit is. Yeah.
I didn't get it. There's like premium events. I think the four premium events you don't get, I think.
Well, maybe you have a different subscription to Peacock than I do,
I
but
got a free
everything
one in
on.
my building.
Oh, well, then maybe that's why. Because mine, I get everything.
All right.
I just turn on the pay-per-view.
Well, aren't you
So,
special? So
well,
I should have put this match first because I think it's very predictable. But the undisputed WWE champion, Cody Rhodes, defense against AJ Styles.
yeah. Again, I don't think they just put 2 years of time and effort and all that for Cody to drop the title in Paris to uh, AJ Styles. I do think again though this is I mean at least these all of these matches are good solid matches.
Yes. Yes.
And this will be I mean these are two guys who they've traveled very similar paths in their careers. They've been in pretty much all the same companies at one point or another and in the same companies at sometimes. They've never in WWE ever had a main event for a title or anything like this before, so this is a first in that regard. Both incredible wrestlers and should put on one hell of a show and is definitely main event worthy. But title change, no. I mean, again, I mean, like I'm putting my money on Cody Rhodes, obviously, but it'll be interesting to see I really don't think they're going to screw with that. But some of the other stuff and other pay-per-views or premium live events going forward, we may have to reconsider, and see how things play out because, honestly, it would be better if we were wrong more often and
Yeah.
we were not as easily able to predict these
Well, yeah, the
things.
fact
I
that we agree
I
on,
would yeah, I would prefer for, to be just swerved more often than not. So, and I think if they really want to make this new era a interesting one and change the way things are, it's gonna mean doing some of that. So, I don't want it to get too crazy. Like there was a time where it was like, you won the title on Sunday night, then someone, wins it on Monday, and then like 2 weeks later, now someone else has the title and stuff. They got a little wild there for a while with, transitioning the title around to people. Um, but I mean, even titles aside, just, as far as who's winning and losing and the way things go, it could be different going forward. So
well, I did think about the fun if AJ won it, just because that would just really upset the whole carton. fans would be going crazy online and all that. And you know, AJ is a worthwhile champ. It's not like
Yeah.
that
Oh
wouldn't
no,
be.
no, he's absolutely worthy of being a
Yeah,
champion, but there's no doubt. But there's also a difference between having the shock factor and then just pissing
right.
everyone off though too,
Yeah,
because that would be like if they did that, then any faith that they had in the Triple H era would go right out the window. They're
right.
like, if this is what he's going to do, then we don't
Yeah,
want any of it.
there's no point in giving it to AJ now. AJ doesn't need it. Well, you can always use it.
No, and this
AJ
could
doesn't need it.
very
What happens to Cody if AJ beats him? Then we have a rematch, and it's like your whole
well,
story. You went all this way just to lose to AJ, and it'll be a
well
cluster.
that then he's going to start another story, and then I'm going to go and jump out the window because if I have to hear any more about people's stories and them finishing their stories or any of that stuff, I'm gonna go
When
crazy.
is the Tommy Else story going to be told?
It's being told right now, buddy.
Oh, can I
You're
narrate it?
you're you're no,
Oh,
no. Uh,
well, that's it, man. That's the card.
who would narrate the John? I know this is a question that gets tossed around a lot, but I think they mentioned it on Barguments on that podcast. But like,
Shout
who
out
would
to Dan
narrate?
Levy.
Yeah, who would narrate the John Robleski story, the
Well,
Jonathan Francis Robleski story?
Morgan Freeman is your obvious answer, but I don't know. I mean, that's a little.
Everybody says that. No, who do you,
Yeah,
who would you want?
that's a good question.
You don't have anyone in mind?
No, I don't. Like, who has a distinctive voice? Who would narrate the Tommy L story? I'll think about this as you're going forward.
Well, mine isn't necessarily someone who I think like is indicative of my character or anything like that, but I just think that if you're looking for a voice that you just could listen to all day and hear someone tell your life story, I would absolutely go with Mr. T.
Oh, good God! Wow, that's an
Yeah,
interesting. Yeah.
yeah. So Tommy got out of bed that day and he went to work. And that fool, I mean, it would be great. It'd be great. I'd be all about Mr. T. Yeah.
Yeah, I was leaning more towards the classy. I was thinking of like a British woman, a British actress. I can't think of one off the top of my head.
You know who I think you would be? I think a good one for you, Gilbert Gottfried. That would be
Dead.
that would be
How
well,
about Kermit?
the frog.
Yes. That's all we have.
Yeah, I could see that. I could see that. No, I don't know. I could see Gilbert Gottfried.
No, not Gilbert Gottfried, you got one.
Gilbert.
All right,
Yes.
let's wrap this one up. So we had five matches. We agree on four of them. We disagree on one. I'll win that, of course, which will further my record. The premium live event, pre-show starts at 11:30 Central Time, airing from France on the Peacock Network. Anything else
And
to add to this, Tommy, before we
if
wrap it
you
up?
if you pay for the Peacock network, you'll have no problem getting the event. If you're just sucking it off of your building, then you might
I
need to
pay. It's
put
part of
some.
my assessments.
Well,
It's a contracted thing. I can't even.
tell, tell them to assess a better subscription to Peacock where
Yeah,
you
my
can watch.
assessments are high enough, man. I don't need
Yeah.
that. All right.
All right, man. Well,
For the
and
Johngy OR ELSE podcast, I appreciate Tommy. Last words? I cut you off there.
yeah, this isn't the Johngy OR ELSE podcast.
But it is.
So for pinfalls.
But it's the Johngy OR ELSE podcast doing
Pinfalls. Okay, fine. Well, anyway, we'll finish this. As always, I of course have been who else but Tommy else. Have fun at Backlash. I'll be watching it. I'm sure without John. I'm not even going to ask him if he's coming over. He's got it. I'm sure he's going to be in Florida or he's doing a wine tasting somewhere, or he's going to be covering women's basketball. Or what? Up there it is. There it is. He's
close.
covering
Women's
women's
softball.
basketball.
It's the last weekend of
No,
the
women's softball. All right. So, yeah, I mean, everything's always more important than coming over and hanging out. So, until next time, everybody, thank you very much. We'll see you at the next premium live event.
check all the coverage on the Everyday Fan. Enjoy.